It was 5 months back at Vumbra Plains in the Okavango Delta when I was guiding a group of gears. One morning when we set off for our morning game drive, 40 minutes after I pulled up from camp, then I picked some fresh line tracks down the road. I did pull over my vehicle on the side, then I jumped out of the car to take a close look at the tracks. And then I noticed that for sure it was liners walking down the road and the tracks were very fresh. I asked my guests to come down and take a close look as well. They all agreed. They came down out of the vehicle, joined me, and then we all looked at the tracks. And then I pointed out where the liners were lying down, pointing out where the front paw and the back paw was, even where the tail was. And right there, that's when we noticed that there were not just liners, there were also carbs tracks in the same area. So we picked some carbs tracks as well there. So we looked at both the liners and the carbs tracks. We even took pictures. And then I quickly asked my guest to get in the car so that we can continue with our trekking if they are happy. And all of the guests, for sure, they were interested. And then we started following on the tracks. While I was driving down the road, I asked everyone to keep an eye, to look around, because I was more concentrating on the tracks on the ground so that we can't lose the tracks. So we followed the tracks down the road, like maybe 15-20 minutes drive down the road. The liners off-roaded. Then I noticed that they were heading towards the water. So I asked my guests that they've off-roaded here, but I'm not gonna off-road. I'll just keep on the road because I could see that the track is heading to the water. Let's go and check down by the crossing. Maybe they might have headed towards that island, or maybe we might see them crossing the water. So as I was driving, one of the guests at the back of the vehicle just shouted out, "Lion, lion, stop, stop, Speedy." Then I quickly stopped the vehicle, switched off the engine. I asked her where, and then she was like, "Over there." Picked my binoculars, looked to the same direction where she was pointing, and then for sure there were liners lying down on top of the termite mound. And through my binoculars, I could see even the cubs were just chasing each other up and down the mound. So I quickly asked everyone to pick their binoculars so that we can look at them through our binoculars. We all looked at those liners through our binoculars in a distance. And then as soon as everyone was happy, I managed to pull closer for a to take a better shot, as well as to position our vehicles properly. So we went out there, we stood out there for a while, taking pictures and spending some time with those liners. And then after a little while, I spotted some red lychee in the distance on the other side of the water. And there was one liner that was paying attention on those lychee. You could actually see that at any time they might stood up and start walking or heading towards those lychee. So I mentioned that, or I quickly said to the guys, "Hang on, look at what is happening there." And then they were all happy to stay a bit. So not so low. And then one of the liners started walking towards the water. So I knew that there is no how they can get to those lychee without crossing the water. So I quickly drove towards the crossing and crossed the crossing on the other side to better position ourselves so that we can get some better shots of those liners walking through the water. So my plan worked out the same way I predicted it. So and then they started walking towards our vehicle straight into the water, and because the water was a little bit deep, you could see the little cubs as they were swimming to try cross over. So guests were very happy to see that because it was their first time to see lions walking through the water or cubs swimming. So they were very, very happy to witness that. So they crossed the water crossing, and then they carried on with their hunt to try and get covered so that they can get close to the lychee. We stayed out there following them up until one of the reedbuck that was lying on the grass that we didn't see. Even the lions didn't see that reedbuck. Jumped out, gave an alarm call. The litchi also picked that alarm call, and they were all on alert. So the lions exposing themselves because they were also surprised. They caught on surprise by that reedbuck. So and then the litchi took off, and then the lioness started walking away because now the hunt was over. And then we pulled out of the sighting and left the lioness heading towards the shade. And the guests were so amazed to see the lioness walking through the water, so amazed by the way how we have tracked them, by the way how we managed to spend some time looking at their tracks on the ground and explaining what was happening, and exactly the way how we firstly saw it just from the tracks, and is the same number of lions that we did came across on top of the termite mound. And I was very happy. At the end of the day, happy guest, happy guide.